Lego. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JH. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. Let's talk. All right. Let's see. I done lost my screen here. What's going on? What's going on? What is going on? I got Mr. Chooch with me today.
What's
He's
going on?
gonna be dropping some science. He is a
Not a
shop
certified
steward.
not a certified scientist. Strictly here talking as a carrier today. I said yes, very heavily involved in union activity, but we're talking full on carrier today. Tried and true carrier.
There
Pay
it
attention.
is.
Pay
There it
attention.
is. We gonna drop some things today. Let me read these comments. What up, Shy? You gonna read tomorrow's news today? You already know it.
Like, hey, throwing the pizza up.
Rain, what's going on? Gonzo family. See, this gentleman here, he know how the law works firsthand. Firsthand. So I'm sure if he sticks around, he can contest to some of the things that I'm talking about. And y'all read that. He said, "Who's this meatball?" Me. I'm the meatball. There it is. There it is. I'm the meatball. As long as it's beef, we don't need no pork over here.
I had chicken cutlets tonight, not meatballs. Big difference.
Oh, it must be nice. One day I'll be able to cook.
Get you
The
a lasagna.
Gonzo family. The Gonzo family. How much time you got left before we continue, brother? Gonzo family. He made the perfect switch. Can that insider explain why they put money on top of mailboxes? What's going on? Claiborne, Texas? How you doing, David? Ah, David. Hey, what's going on, sir? Got another person here. You know, shout too much out. Y'all got a good smorgasbord in here. Smorgasbord. 8 to go. That's what I'm talking about. You're gonna have double pensions. Take that for what it's worth. But before we get into what we've been talking about for the last couple videos, about scanners or surveillance or anything else, I want to say this loud and clear. I posted a little clip of a young lady. I'm going to say she's a young lady that is, she was sweating. She was crying. She took her video down because of the heat. There's nothing to laugh about. At the end of the day, carriers, no piece of data is worth your life. Fuck them scanners. Excuse my Francois. Your safety becomes, you know, it comes before any scanner, any time card, any number, any bit of data. Right now, we're in the hottest months of the year, and the carriers are out there pushing sometimes over their own personal limit. And I was blessed to have somebody from, I'm not going to speak too much, somebody from the, he works for the post office. I gotta be cautious what I say. Works for the post office and knows behind the scenes about the medical portion, and that's where we'll leave it. And he's been dropping some information in my chat group. So we said, according to OSHA, the employer must provide water, shade, and rest. They must train workers on heat illness symptoms, and most importantly, take steps to prevent heat stroke. There even guidance that says new and returning workers need time to acclimate, especially if they haven't worked in the heat for a few days, meaning that if you left on vacation for a week, you know, your body builds up, you left on vacation, you out there doing your thug bizzle, and then you come back and you try to jump back into that heat, your body can go into shock. So no matter what pressure you're under, your body comes first. The mail can wait. Me, I say, fuck that mail. It's a piece of paper. Your life matters more than anything. And if management is not following that policy, they're the ones in violation, not you. Right now, there is major OSHA violations going on. But the one thing that I didn't like about OSHA is that they kind of announce before they show up, which I think sucks. But
Mhm.
you know, it is what it is. Um, so I wanted to get that out the way before we get into the other part of the video. Carriers, please be safe, man. You know, we talk a lot of shit here, but it hurts to see these little clips that show up. Another carrier was found slumped over in their vehicle or dead for 2 hours. That shit is unacceptable.
Mhm.
Unacceptable. And I wish that they would, me personally, I wish they would let the new people know before they hire them for these jobs what they really are in for, because nobody knows what carriers have to deal with. You know, they see the mail person walking up with a little piece of paper, putting it in a mailbox, and people believe that's what it is. And I tell all the people, you know, that come in and they train with me, I say I couldn't do the job you do. It's incredibly, grueling. You
Mhm.
know, I praise my own kids for doing it. My sister, she's actually she's on light duty, limited duty for, I think she hurt her back. What y'all have to deal with, nobody can explain it. You can't go home and explain it to your family. You can't explain it to your friends if
You
they've
could
never
try,
done
but
what you do.
you could try, but they'll never get it unless they do
Um,
it. Yeah.
it's incredible, and I know a lot of people say, "Oh, this guy's not even a carrier." You're right. I'm not. It is what it is. I'm not. But I'm surrounded with enough people to know that it's not. It's not
Mhm.
ice cream and cookies. Um,
Well
now that we
said.
got that out of the way, now the carriers are gonna be now the carrier's gonna get mad at me. Listen, a recap of the last two videos. I broke down what was happening with the scanners. A lot of you guys are seeing the pressure, management trying to weaponize data, the red flags are going off for stationary times, the delays. Um, what the carriers do, they start pulling batteries and using tinfoil, Faraday bags, whatever they can do to block the GPS. I've always said leave your comments, but we have to use common sense when we use comments, because on my channel, if you don't know, they do monitor my channel. OIG literally sits two doors down from me. I've had to sit with OIG because somebody got mad. They got the feelings police, and they called on me a couple years ago. So I know what I can and cannot say. But if you're in the comments and you're posting stuff like this, um, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. Um, but let's be clear, the scanner is not designed to hurt you. It is not supposed to be a weapon. The original purpose is for data consistency, route structure, and productivity modeling. That's what the higher ups say. But when it's used the wrong way, it creates distrust from the carriers. And that's what exactly has led to all of this. Now, with all that being said, I just mentioned that I have a few OIG people around me. And I'm not saying that one of them spoke to me, but one of them did. Not saying that they were in my building, but I've run into them here and there just because of what I have to do. Um, I had a conversation off the record, um, and there's no names being dropped. Um, what he said was very structured, professional, and serious. And what I did was, I kind of jotted down. I said, "Look, man, I know you're not speaking about anything, but they don't, people that are sitting up that in that level, they do not like to be um, name dropped, and there is no name dropping here. But the basic statement was carriers who knowingly tamper with scanner data, whether by blocking GPS, disabling equipment, or falsifying location, may be subject to disciplinary action up to and including removal. In certain cases, this behavior may rise to the level of investigative interest by the OIG, depending on the frequency and the intent. Surveillance in the field is not routine, but is authorized where data inconsistencies suggest willful interference with federal systems." That is straight from the source. Somebody else said, and I'm pulling out the phone because it's what I do. And for those that say they're not supposed to use covert operations. In On your website, what it says on your website, nalc.org, the N41
M41.
city delivery carrier duties and responsibilities. Responsibilities remind city carriers that they may be supervised anytime while they are working. Section 16 supervision of the M41 states carriers may expect to be supervised at all times while in performance of their duties. While carriers should be expected to be supervised at any time, management has certain responsibilities while performing these street supervisions. This requirement are found in section 134, street management of handbook M39, management of delivery services, which states in pertinent part, accompanying carriers on the street is considered an essential responsibility of management and one of the manager's most important duties. Managers should act promptly to correct improper conditions. A positive attitude must be maintained at all by the manager at all times. So it's in your book. It's there. I know for a fact there are a couple of shop stewards that are watching, and there's one that's right here that will be dropping some information in a second.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna bring Mailman Yachooch, shop steward carrier of about 20 years in. No bullshit. He's been seeing what's been going on firsthand. He's gonna break down the other side of this because while we support carriers and I ride for my carriers, you're like, man, you Jay management. Enough of that. Management can be dirty, and sometimes the stuff happen right now, it becomes straight up shady. So with that being said, let Mr. Chooch, please. You had
Yes,
some things to say, and
yes,
here's
sir.
your platform, brother.
All right. Well, Jay laid that out as eloquently as he always does. And while he read straight from the M41 and M39, maybe that last part about the M39 about managers maintaining a positive attitude, maybe that could be, you could call that being a little bit off. But at the same time, I'm not here to rip management. I'm here to talk about the carriers and like Jay said, our side of it. So you heard him say it. Like this is no rumor. He's talking to these. He's had a conversation. He has heard. From the horse's mouth. Full surveillance on the street. Plainclothes people that could be out there watching you. No marked vehicles. No white Ford Focus thing. Your boss's car. You know them well, but you don't know anybody else out there. And these guys are not making themselves known. They don't want to be known. And it says in the book, they're allowed to be out there doing that. And as much as you hate to think the big brother's out there, it's out there. And it's getting stronger and stronger every day. And unfortunately, when carriers, people who do my job that I respect more than fucking anything, it goes right up there with my family and my home and everything that I respect dearly in this world, to say that job, I do not put myself in any position to have anybody ever have to say, oh, I wonder if Chooch is doing his job out there. I wonder if I got to go spy on him. And I said, bring it on, motherfuckers. Bring it on. You want to come watch me management? You want to come to OIG? Feel free, because I go out there every day. And the idea of taking that scanner and doing something foul with it, whether it be pull the battery, put it in some sort of bag, wrap it in tinfoil, I'm like, who the fuck? Yo, I'm telling you right now, if you're out there doing this shit, you got a lot of fucking balls. You got a lot of fucking balls dishonoring the fucking job like that. And, again, I started this job before low jacking even began. I was out there with the old school scanner before the cell phone, before the flip phone. And I said, man, I just always say to myself, who knows who's out here? This is the real world. And people are watching you, your customers are watching you. And like, it's just unbelievable now in 2025 with all the tech that's out there. We think sometimes we make a joke like, the postal service tech is like Atari, and there is flaws. I'm not going to say that like it ain't a flawed system in terms of the scanner, in terms of the distance it might say from where you're at when you're scanning something, but nonetheless, if now you have proof, courtesy of Mr. H here, who has done endless amounts of research and has taken a lot of shit from people, saying, "Oh, you're fear mongering." Well, now we have something straight from the horse's mouth again, that are telling us that, hey, while it might not be in your town, and we might seriously outnumber how many people they have to be out there, that they're out there and they're taking people off the streets and off the clock. Uh,
So
yes, sir.
let me jump in for a second. There are um hey, how you doing? There is a management in here. Y'all uh make sure your scanners and everything is management is there. No, listen,
Right.
I was talking to a couple of the people in my vicinity, not my facility, but my vicinity. And they have been removing or walking people off. People have been getting placed on, I don't know if it's emergency leave,
Mm.
but people have
You-
been getting walked out uh, because of the scanner. Again, the scanner's not going to write you up. That obviously it doesn't. But what it did was it sends alerts. And there's people, obviously, they pay people to sit there behind a desk, collect data. And if it comes back and it raises a red flag, or, now you have a target on your back. That's what I spoke about in my last video. And in one area, there was a group of people that got walked off. Um, I think it was up to like 5 people that got walked off. And
mhm.
whether you say, "Oh, well, they walked me off, my union's going to fight for me to get it back," in some cases they will. I don't like sitting in front of management and having to explain myself. I don't. If you have a good shop steward, great. But if you're actually caught in the act, once OIG is involved and it's gotten to that level, it's very difficult to get your job back. I mean, management walks people off all the time. You'll get your job back. But once they feel like you're stealing time, that's an issue. Um, I know that they spoke about putting a camera up. They can put a camera like at a cluster. I don't know if they're cluster
Mm.
boxes or a mail room.
Yeah.
And, some people will sit outside of the mail room in their vehicle because management doesn't know whether or not, they're actually doing work. But if for some reason they get reported or they get seen, they say, hey, I saw you sit in your vehicle for 2 hours, whatever it is. After a while, if they report it to the OIG, then the OIG can set up surveillance. And if you guys don't believe me about surveillance, if you're new to my channel, go back a couple years because we had a brother, Emmanuel, that was they set up a freaking camera inside of his tractor. It was just so much shit. If they want you, they're gonna get you, and they have nothing else to do. You know what I mean? They get paid decent money to investigate. They're federal agents. I have somebody in here that is a police officer or a former police officer, and I'm sure he could vouch for it. Uh, when they want to do surveillance on you, they're not going to spring into action and walk you off just because they saw you picking your nose or you stayed a little longer in 7-Eleven. No, they built up a case against you. Um, and in that scenario, Chooch, how does the union fight that back? Do you guys have a counter to that? Or, I know you guys have to fight for everybody. Talk to them.
Yep. Well, when all said and done, I mean, we've all made the comment to say, they can't solely, base discipline on, scanner hits. It has to be physical presence. And unfortunately, we've established now that there are people performing physical present, they're putting themselves out there, unknown to us. And that is a very, very hard defense to make if they have camera footage, if they have consistent, consistent, stationaries, repetition things.
Is that considered
Again,
spying? Because I know somebody's gonna say, "Oh, they're spying on us. They can't
well,
spy."
I see people in the comments, saying good comments and saying like, oh, if you see somebody following you, call the police, tell them that someone's following you. And I said, well, when the police catch up to that person and say, well, hi, I'm a postal inspector, or I'm with the OIG, and my intent is to keep my eye on this carrier because we have an issue. The police are gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry we bothered you, and then they're gonna get right back to following you again. So unfortunately, again, once you get into the physical aspect and you take away just the scanner data, that's where it becomes pretty tough to defend, if they know that you're tampering with the scanner and have physical, like, presence. Again, I'm not advocating anything for management. I still fight tooth and nail every day, to say that I hate when management says these words that go like this. Work the mail, not the clock. Now, when I say I hate hearing that shit, but at the same time, that is essentially what we're supposed to do. So obviously, when they make that statement, they have it in their head on on the regular station level that somebody's doing something fishy out there, but they can't delve into it because they're just working with the scanner data. So when they see the inconsistencies, then it gets passed on to OIG, and OIG are the feds. They're the big boys, and they have authority. So that's where the union, again, can defend the scanner data, solely. But once you get involved with physical data, physical presence, cameras and stuff, that's where it gets to be a little dicey. And that's where the carriers, again, got to go out, do the job diligently, be fucking with anything out there except taking care of the mail.
Um, I don't like talking about. It's not fear mongering. At the end of the day, it really isn't. I don't like
It's
talking
not.
about. I don't even like the fact that we have to get to this.
I
But
hate it too.
within the last, I'm gonna guess, month and a half, people have been utilizing this, thought process. Oh, well, let's just cover the bags up, or cover the scanner, or whatever your monitoring device is. I said in the last video that the GPS doesn't go off, so you can remove a battery, but the GPS has a separate battery, so you could take that and throw it out the window. And we shouldn't be thinking. A true criminal will always think of, well, okay, if that don't work, I'm gonna do this instead. Listen, I'm from New York. I done did some shit in my time. But this is one place that I don't want to fuck with this place. I don't know if you get that. I don't want to. It's the most embarrassing thing to think that you get walked out and the chance of you not coming back because of your own, you know what I mean?
Boom.
I don't even know how to explain it, man.
You said it
Um,
perfectly. It's
I
exactly
like
how I feel.
I like I had my issues with the management. I had my issues with the coworkers, but I just can't put myself in a situation where I'm gonna get walked out, especially by OIG. When they told me that, I had to sit down. It was like, oh man, OIG looking for you because of your videos, man. I was like, fuck, you gotta be kidding me. Man, I went to look for them because I didn't want to get walked out. And I knew where they were. That at that time I didn't know where they were in my building. I walked around knocking on doors. I'm like, hey, do you know where they're blah blah? And I went and I found them. And I was like, hey, I went through this conversation. And they explained to me, hey, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do, blah, blah, blah. And I said, it is what it is. But it was very uncomfortable. I don't like sitting with the law, and we could talk tough in the comments, but nobody's gonna want to sit there in front of the law because
Mhm.
they can't consider that stealing time, theft of postal funds, delaying mail. They just
Mhm.
stack it up against you, and once you have to sit with the OIG statement, your own management statement in front of labor relations, it's very difficult to get your job back.
It's true. 100%, brother. I mean, yeah, yeah, when you were in that office with Aljo, you said, this is the last fucking time I'm going to be in that office. And I said, I had my day in court where I thought to myself, man, like, feel like I'm being targeted here. What's going on? I've been here forever doing my job right. And then it just got to a point where they initiated the stationary time, they initiated the scanners and the tracking, and they said, okay, They're just going solely off of data. They can't see it. So they call out people like, me, who are, I know I'm out there doing right by the job, and I have to answer for it. So they're allowed to manage. They're allowed to pull me in there and question me, but it still felt like shit. It still felt like shit to say, what am I doing in here? But nonetheless, state my case, show them, yeah, say, take a ride with me, come out and check it out, whatever you want to do. I'm fine with it. I'll disprove any theory of any sort of wrongdoing, and we'll go from there. And since then, everything's been fine. And I expect it to always stay that way and never be back in that fucking situation again, because it sucked. And I said, anybody who's going to do that shit to compromise that, fucking with that scanner, bad, bad, bad for the face of the carriers. You're just making it worse for us. So don't freaking do it. Don't fucking do it, please. Give me a break.
Um, so let me see what other information I got here. Um, oh, if they do remove you during your removal, you actually lose. If you're removed from the post office or get fired for theft, you lose all of the benefits that you had.
Mm-hmm.
You
True.
lose your pension, all that good stuff. So, um, I get it. Management pressure makes you want to fight back. Um, you guys are stressed out. The heat is ridiculous. We can sit here and blame them for everything, but please don't hand them the knife that they're going to use to cut your paycheck. You want to beat bad policy. The whole concept is to grieve it. Y'all are going to say, well, I don't have good shop stewards. Then it'll bring me back to one of my other videos saying, if you don't think they're good, step up
Yep.
no matter what your craft is, because they do offer training to be shop stewards. A lot of people will complain, but nobody will step up. Challenge it, call it out. But please, under no circumstances, do not try to manipulate the data because they use that stuff to bury you. Chooch is always going to be on the side of the worker. He's a fixture in this place. But being on your side also means telling you the truth. And a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. You can't deny truth. And I can give you my opinion. But when you have stuff in black and white and you have facts to back it up, that's truth. And you want protection, you have to move smart, not shady. I read those comments. And if you go back in the video, my last video, just read the comments. There's just so many people plugging, oh, well, if they do this, then do that instead. Do this. And I'm
Crazy.
like, do
Crazy.
they realize that OIG reads this shit? And, they have the technology to find out who you are.
This isn't a
Don't say,
video
hey,
game, folks. It's not a video game.
yeah,
It's real life.
um, you know, I don't know. I'm gonna let Chooch kind of do his
Yeah.
thing and go off for a minute because again they're gonna be like, you ain't even the carrier, Jake.
No,
You're right. I
that's
sit in a plush office, air conditioned. That's right. When it drops down below 74, I get upset. No, I'm just kidding. They like, fuck you, Jay. No.
yeah. Yeah, I have proof that he actually does have those perks, but at the same time,
Shut
he's
your
out there.
face.
He's out there showing people how to drive that vehicle, and he's putting in a lot of time trying to give us this information. And first things first, you don't see me on here very much putting videos up every day. Like Nick does it. Nick does his thing. I love seeing Nick on here. There's a certain other carrier who talk like this, and he does his materials, But I don't come on here very much. I come here at the request of Jay, and I kind of funnel through him. But as much as he influences me to kind of say my own thing on my own channel, I like coming on here. I like being kind of like to get the second guy, to where Jay is the main guy, and I like to also put put it in people's heads, like, enough of the idea of fear mongering coming out of Jay's mouth. I mean, he does the homework. He has carriers in his ear, giving him so much information. And it's like, this isn't, like I said, it ain't a fucking video game. This is the real life shit that we pass on to him. And he's got a lot of guys like me, a lot of good guys from a lot of different places that say, this is what's going on. This is what we're hearing. This is what we're seeing. And if we feel like, God forbid, we didn't have somebody like him to put this information out there as good as he does. I would want to, keep up with his pace, but I know I can't do it. Why? Because I'm a fucking carrier in a 125-degree vehicle. I ain't got no energy for this shit. I'm tired at the end of the day. But nah, I said, Jay is amazing at what he does. So again, all you guys that are putting in these comments of, oh, he's fear mongering and do this with this, this is what you do to to work around that. Enough of that shit. Like, wait, you're dumb. No other way to say it. You're fucking dumb. Like, let's go. Get back to work. Put the fucking scanner put down, scan shit when you need to, and leave it alone otherwise. Plug it in the charger at the end of the day. That's it. Keep it on your body. Oh, big thing. Keep it on your body at all times. When you take your lunch, you're supposed to kind of leave it still so it shows that you took a lunch. A lot of people still ain't doing. Take your breaks. Keep the scanner still. Don't fucking dilly-dally around, during the lunch, because that's what got me called out for stationary time. The fact that I was told to keep my scanner on me at all times, but then it was like I was having it on me during my lunch and I was moving around during my lunch in a restaurant that I always go to. And I go to the counter, or go to refill my drink, the scanner's moving. It reads a 1-foot proximity move. So they said, do me a favor, leave your scanner still in your truck. That way we see, okay, he's at his lunch and the scanner ain't moving. But every other moment, keep that scanner on you. When you hop out for a business, everything, because they are tracking every bit of that. It's good information. I don't know what else like what you could say is like, being any kind of fear mongering, or like, oh, they don't do that. They don't, this is what they're doing. This is what you need to do as carriers. Do the job safely, do the job diligently, never touch that scanner for anything but scanning shit and clocking in and clocking out. Got it? Good. Let's go. What's
Oof.
next?
Let's be real, carriers. Don't do the shady stuff. Like basically what it say. Just because you don't trust management. I know somebody in the comments said, well, what about them stealing my time? Now that's a great question, stealing your time. Now again, that has nothing to do with the scanner, but to be clear, I went through the situation with my daughter and she was scared. I did a video about this a while ago, where they were forcing them to punch out. Everybody was punching out at 6 o'clock. Backstory. Some of y'all need to go back in some of my older videos. And I lost my shit. And I was like, you left, right? She's like, no, they make us punch out. I said, no, you can't do that. I tried to explain it to her, but she's like, no, Dad, I don't want to get in trouble, blah, blah, blah. And so I called the OIG. I was like, man, fuck this. So they do get in trouble for that. You cannot work off the clock at the end of the day. And it was their record shows. Okay, well, the carrier punched out, yes, but there's no way that every carrier, whether you're a CCA, PTF, and full time, everybody was off the clock at 6 p.m. so that they didn't go on a night differential. So yes, the carrier punched out, or actually scanned out, whatever they did, but the management ended up getting in a lot of trouble because of that, because they were forcing them to do that and continue to work off the clock. So they just had, I believe they had people just sitting out there in the parking lot while the people were still coming up. They were coming up and arriving maybe around 6:10, and then they were just monitoring the carriers coming in later and later, and then they have the access to pull the tax, the record of your time. And they were like, well, I witnessed, the OIG witnessed people coming after 6 p.m. on this day. How is it that they punched out at 6 p.m.? You know what I mean? So there are ways to do things, but you have to do it right. You have to do it right. There's a lot of people that are here and y'all are tired. I get it. You're tired. But if you have an issue with management, handle it the right way. Handle it the right way. If you got sucky supervisors, handle it the right way. If you got bad shop stewards, handle it the right way. Um, it's easier said than done. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done because a lot of you only have a handful of good shop stewards in the country. But that brings me back to my other videos. Step up. It's a weird cycle. It's a weird cycle. I want to touch on this whole thing about me fear mongering about July 1st. It's coming tomorrow. July 1st. The world is burning. No,
Like Y2K. Oh,
yeah, the world is burning. Tomorrow, if you
Y71.
don't know, there's new service standards that are going to go into effect. The carriers won't feel it as much as the people at the plants, the truck drivers, the processing clerks, the mail handlers, even the window clerks. Has to do with, I believe, is 4:30 is the cutoff time for a lot of the stations as far as mail outgoing from here on out. So if you go to your local and try to mail piece of mail after 4:30 p.m., um, not saying it's fully implemented yet, it will not be processed the same day. It used to be when the window closed and the truck drivers get everything. It doesn't work like that. So at 4:30 p.m., the mail, whatever comes from that station, will go back to the plant. That will get processed the same day. Um, Damn near delaying mail, and a lot of stations will be sending their, if it's a Monday, they'll be sending their Monday outgoing mail out on Tuesday morning when they're receiving the mail, for the carriers that morning. It's a weird dynamic. Um, but I spoke about that before, where they said that they had sections where the trucks were delivering the mail and picking up the mail from the day before. I spoke about it, I guess, about a year ago. Stick with me. Stick with me. I don't say subscribe. Stick with me. Because when they start talking about it, it continues, leaving mail there for evening delivery. Um, yeah. You know what? It's not about me. I was letting Chooch run his mouth. Go ahead, Chooch. I know you got 1,000 things to say.
No. So we're going to keep it brief here. I'm watching everybody in the comments and appreciate all the crew, of course. I got Yaya up in there. I got Chat Till I Die, Mikey up in there, Danny, everybody. Thank you for everything. Yeah, thank you for the additional information. Talking about working off the clock. Obviously, bad move. Don't do it. Talk about making your moves on the clock. Got to make your moves on the clock. They like to look at that. Again, it's a lot to remember. Here, a point I wanted to make is say that as a carrier, as somebody who's been doing it 20 years and I'm just going to say it, the old school carriers, were it was more scrutiny put on you to know all the true little ins and outs of the mail, as to where newer carriers coming in, like, there's a lot of, like, ways of handling the mail after you get off the street, come back to the office. And I think, people do eventually learn it all. And I didn't know it all, like, in the first year. It took time to learn all the endorsements, there's a lot of things that I think a lot of newer carriers like need to know, and that is time on the clock to handle those things. I think a lot of people just, like, sometimes might come back and do the 3M thing and separate the missorts, the missents, and the missequences, pop it in the throwback thing, and then you're off and running for the day and you're done. But there are a lot of other details, and management, of course, is going to want to hustle you off that clock to say, like, maybe you got back 20-30 minutes early, and you just say, "Oh, what do I do now?" It's like, well, you can do route maintenance, you can do labels on your case, you can update your red book. There's a lot of stuff that I just know that again, it takes time to, like, learn all these things. Some people somehow have seemingly avoided it for years. I'm just saying facts. I know what I know. Sometimes management will come to me and say, "Hey, Chooch, could you maybe check in on this case or this?" I'm like, why me? What did I do? So what did I do wrong? And it's like, well, you just kind of, I'm like, oh, because I've been here long, I know more. Like, oh, I said, okay, well, I think somebody next to me might have been here almost as long as me, but yet it's not, doesn't seem to be the same way you're treating that whole situation. But nonetheless, again, I know a lot of answers to most questions when it comes to carrying, but at the same time, I'm still figuring, things out that are coming, into like what Jay said about tomorrow and the whole changeover. That's definitely going to affect carriers, and that's going to affect carriers in terms of how they move. Because if management wants mail back by a certain time, or if management's in your head about this whole new thing, immediately people start thinking and get like that poor girl in that video that was crying. She was concerned about the heat and she was exhausted, but she was also freaking out about her performance and the management putting that number in her head. And I said, when it's 10,000 degrees, like Jay said in the very beginning, fuck that. Fuck the numbers, fuck the scanner. I said, but well, most of the time, we have a pleasant day to work with. You got to go out and you got to like, stay on point with what you're doing. But when it comes down to, uh, working with that scanner, again, treat that thing as revenue. Treat that thing as your revenue, the post office revenue. Like it's flawed. We know it's flawed in certain ways, but in the end, the scanner is everything and anything now with what we just covered here. That thing is there, it's watching, and it can be used. We have uncovered the mystery. Can it be used for removals? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. All right.
It's just the root. That's all it is. It's the
Yes.
root. It sparks. It sparks it. If you come to work and you smell like alcohol, that doesn't
Mm,
necessarily say you were drinking. Then you get in the vehicle and they're like, man, that person smell like alcohol. Then you
mm,
get in an accident and they run the blood alcohol level. And now you got text. Oh, well, it was just because I smell like it. Don't have them sit there and have a target on your back. That was a bad analogy, but you get where I'm saying. You get where I'm coming from. Tomorrow evening, I'm gonna bring, I believe, TC on. TC
TC.
Talks Fitness.
TC's up in the, yeah, he's up in there now.
Yes, yeah, there he is. He still ain't sent me his information if he really wanted to talk. He's been talking about, oh, I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna tell you about how it is. Everybody has their own story. And I want to hear his. So tomorrow evening around 8 p.m., I'm gonna do a live with him. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Listen, I can't reiterate enough to please stay safe, man. Stay safe. Um, protect yourself. Protect yourself. If your vehicle's fan does not work, don't drive it. End of the day, don't drive it. Don't drive it. I mean, the fan's only gonna blow hot air anyway. But it's true. Don't drive it, man. If you feel like you're getting exhausted, don't drive it. Step out. Don't sit in that hot box. It's literally like you ever turn your oven off and then leave it closed? It stays warm.
Yep.
It still stays warm. They're like, oh, just roll your windows down. Nah, man, this is solid metal. It's a steel box you're in. Just don't. Just don't.
I hit a $125 last week in the LLV with the fan functioning, both windows rolled down, vents open in the back. And I said I was just cooking me all damn week. Today was a little bit of a relief. It was only 105. I think I hit at one point. So, yeah,
Damn. Yeah,
it's
everybody
brutal.
was sending me pictures of their inside of their vehicles. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, shit. I'm complaining when it drops down below 77 in my office. I'm just still talking shit, right? Um,
We
let me
chose
see.
this life. We chose this
Yeah.
life. Mm,
Heat exhaustion, dizziness, upset stomach, headaches, dogs, 6 inches of snow, reading mail at night. Yeah,
mm,
that's man,
very nice.
man.
Yep.
That's the one. Mr. The One Bad Man. So no, they did not come on. They're not gonna show their face. Um, I just spoke to them. I spoke to them. They're not gonna show who they are. You could have some that are sitting around you. You'll never know. You will,
It's
and I tell you, you never know. You will never know. I gotta watch what I say. But
it's not me, I swear. I'm really a
I
carrier.
was I was looking and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And person was eye appealing to say the least. And then went back to their vehicle and pulled out the vest. I was like, the freaking bulletproof. I said, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh, you new here? Yeah. You will never know who they are. I promise you. You will never know. It's intriguing. My uncle's a police officer, man, but to see how they move, they sit in the office all day and collect data. That's what they do. Office of internal investigations. That's their whole purpose. Um, inside, they want to know what's going on inside. So for those that are having issues inside and there's crimes on the inside amongst things going on, please give them some work. There's not a ton of them, and they when they get a lead, and you can do it. You go on their site and you can do it anonymously. That's another thing. Yo, don't start your shit. There'll be a bunch of people calling them tonight. Go on their website. You can do it anonymously. And they usually call you back. They called me back in 2 hours a couple years ago. I don't know what it is now. 2 hours they call me back just because I was upset about my daughter. So when y'all have situations, don't go starting shit because your supervisor, didn't give you overtime one day. That's not a reason. But if there's some serious stuff going on, handle your business. This guy said, now you tempted me to get in trouble. You better cut your shit. Cut your shit.
We got good commenters tonight.
Oh shit. Steven got back in. How
Yeah, that's
about
what I
them
said. I
apples?
said, yo, I saw him. I said, Steve, you back to work? He said, yes, sir. Yeah. We're
He
glad.
came back just to argue and fuss some
As a
more.
as a
Goddamn. He quit for what,
PTF,
2 months?
not a CCA, as a PTF. Excellent.
He been here long enough. He shouldn't come back. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, as expected, cool rag around the neck, lots of water, blah, blah, blah.
And
OIG,
Adam
glistening
Lopez.
like a
Adam.
rotisserie chicken. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. All right. I'm not gonna close this one out. I'm gonna let you speak your last bit of piece there, sir, because I missed my first hour of wrestling. Don't judge me.
I'm missing the Phillies. Fuck off.
Hmm. They're not the
Uh,
Yankees.
Yeah, yeah, I told you, go yank this. All right, I'm going to check in on Adam Lopez here. Problem is, no one wants to learn. Most new hires don't take the job seriously. Meanwhile, management is having them pivot and catching downtime without handling mail properly. Union does not care. Adam, you are accurate in your statement. I am not going to deny any of those words. I will say that union coverage, union differentiates from place to place. Some people are knee deep in the shit and they're doing their job. I give my union all the credit for taking on what they take on in my local. They definitely put the work in. There are some retired guys, but there are some newer people that are full time carriers like me and go to the meetings and handle their business when things come up. And they ain't playing favorites. They're vying for everybody. They're defending everything that is as defendable as it can be. There are situations where, of course, sometimes you shake your head and say, "Why the fuck would you do that? Why would you do that? Do I got to smack you over the head? But I can't smack you over the head. I gotta talk sensibly. I gotta keep my cool with everybody. As much as I want to blow my top, and I did blow my top back in the day, and you might look at me as a guy with a short fuse. Believe me, I'm cool as ice when I get in between those walls. Now, I do everything as calmly as I can, and that's what I'm telling everybody to do. Is no matter how hot you get, literally and physically, and and spiritually, like keep your cool throughout your day. Don't lose your cool on the clock. You can lose it afterwards. Go home and punch the walls in if you need to. But like I said, keep your cool on the clock and do the right thing and don't fuck with the scanner. Again, I don't know how many times they're gonna have to say this, but don't fuck with the scanner. I think I will read one more comment just to say I just saw one more and then I'll let it back to Jay. First hour of WWE filler and hyping one. That's good. Good to see you back, Steven Torres. And let me see. Come to my building. I gotta go. I gotta go. That's been on light duty for 20 years and he's never getting better. All right. Well, everybody's got one of those. Nathan is Postal. Everybody's got a station with the light duty person that never gets better. And again, I don't know if Mr. Steiner is going to come in here. The new Postmaster General. He's due to come in along with these changes. So I don't know if they're just going to keep cooking the books or if they're going to start cooking people that seemingly are supposed to be handled by this point. But again, we don't you don't know, you don't go home with that person that's on that light duty, so you can never truly know what's going on with somebody. I know we all think we know, but at the same time, again, I know that's a hard thing to be dealing with, but we can't judge from afar, or if you want to, like I said, go right ahead. I'm not gonna judge too harshly on that. But everybody be safe out there. Like I said, yeah, Mikey, try till I die. Love you, brother. He said that you get more than two breaks in a day like today, or a day like where it's hot. So take that extra time you need on the days when it's hot. But otherwise, do your 2 10s and your lunch and get back to work. All right, that's enough from me. Back to you, Jay.
I have a question. As a union steward, I am going to read a comment, and maybe you can confirm or deny. Hello, Jay. You are the most handsome person in the post office, period. I wish you were my No, they didn't say that. They didn't say that at all. Hello, Jay. Letter
Really?
carrier here from South Carolina. I'm hearing that our back pay will be mailed. If
Hmm?
so, I just wanted to remind everyone to update their address if
Jigga what?
needed. I
Jigga
never
who?
heard no sugar than that. Yeah.
Jigga what? Jigga who?
Thanks for all you do because a lot of us rely on you, especially due to us not having a good union steward anymore. Can you please look into that? I'm reading my comment now. Yeah,
Hmm.
you can't see it, but yeah,
Hmm.
I don't think they've ever been mailed, and I don't think they're mailed
Hmm.
separately. I think they kind of just pop them in your check to screw you.
Eh,
But is
could
that
be in
something
there.
you heard?
No, that I would hope that that's going to be direct deposited, and you see a nice heavier check than you usually do come August 29th, God willing. That's the earliest date I've heard is that August 29th target date. But I did remember from the last contract that it was well beyond the time frame from the ratification, which was May, to August, which would only be 3 months, May, June, July, 3 or 4 months. It did take like 6 or 7 months. So maybe they get it done faster now. God willing. I
Hmm.
know everybody wants that dough. I know I want that dough.
All right. Mailing check. Yeah, mailing checks out would cost more, but it
Mm,
would also it would put money back in the post office.
mm,
I could see them doing something weird. I don't know.
I don't see that.
Oh, somebody says, Woo, I wish we can just vote the lazy restrictions people out of the post office. I don't know. I know I don't make mine feel very comfortable when I work around them. I give them a dirty look. I won't say who said that, but how do you feel about restrictions?
Mm. Um, Never had him. Never had him, so I don't know. I said been beating his body up for 20 years and worked through rolled ankles, worked through tendonitis, worked through uh, you know every possible condition I can. And again, I'm not made of stone, but I said I hurt on certain days, and maybe sometimes I do wish I had restrictions. But I'm gonna be 45 this year. I said maybe by the time I hit my 50s, who knows? Maybe I will have a restriction at some point. But I've been going strong with never having a restriction. So again, I can only speak for myself. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say too much other than I've definitely questioned restrictions over the years.
Okay. Some person says I'm not lazy, I'm restricted. Someone says USPS rules can't sit, can't stand, can't blink.
Hmm.
Hmm. Doctor said light duty. USPS heard extra work. Restricted at work. Welcome to the club. Work restrictions got me doing everything but my job. They said modified duty. I got modified misery. Anyway, whatever that means. With that being said,
Yeah.
this is JH.
Thank
Oh,
you. Yeah. Yeah. Chooch is a
somebody
postal
actually
robot.
wrote me, and
It does
I
all
didn't
hurt, Conjo.
realize the manager, the postmaster actually had a question, and I didn't really even notice it. Nonetheless,
Hmm.
just so that people know, there's some of us here that have reached the 5 decade mark. I am one of them. So regardless of what people think, the younger people, yeah, my son is 32 years old. I have reached that decade mark. Um, so I'm not as young as a lot of people anticipate when they speak to me like, oh, anyway, listen, this is JH. Tomorrow, again, I believe I'm gonna have TC on here to kind
See.
of vent session. I don't know if he's gonna do his cussing. If you see his name in there, he does do He does, I think, TikToks, man. He's pretty freaking funny. So check him out. And tomorrow, check me out. All right. I'll get back to arguing with you guys another day. There's no real postal news. There's no hot topics. I did that. I did that. I did that. There's no postal topics that are hot right now. But I love reading the comments. I'ma cut it out.
Yeah, I know a guy
He's
who
my
does pretty good
dog.
one too.
He's my
Hey,
dog. Uh,
appreciate everybody listening. Let me rant. I said if you agree, you disagree, I understand. I said I'm not going. Worry too much about um, when my bones start to fall apart on me. I'm just going to keep going the way I go. Do what you got to do out there. Stay safe. And again, this guy right here doing a hell of a job keeping us informed and listening. Not just talking, he's listening too. So we appreciate that, Jay. Always. Thank you.
that part. This is JH. And we out.
We out.
Boom. I believe it's over.
Finito. Yep.